UFC 321 is this Saturday night, and we have 14 fights headlined by Tom Aspinall taking on Gane, and I'm going to go through each and every fight, starting at the bottom, working my way to the top, as always, giving all my picks and betting thoughts on this entire card. So let me know in the comments what bets you guys have locked in, who your favorite underdog is on this entire card, and same thing as last week, let me know what the quickest finish on this entire card is going to be, how many seconds, how many minutes. Doesn't matter what fighter it is, just let me know how quick it's going to be in the comments. Whoever wins is going to get a $25 as well. No matter, doesn't matter how you want it, just let me know in the DMs. But like this video, click subscribe, turn your post notifications on because we will have a special episode of Wager Wars this week. We got the champ, Pick'em MMA, taking on Couch Warrior. So if you miss it, live Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, then come through on the live tab afterwards. Check it out. Make sure you're subscribed. Turn those post notifications on. And if you're trying to support the podcast or you're looking for a new sports book, check out Bet105. Use my code CodyMMA or click the link at the top of the caption. And let's get into this card, man. We've been on a hell of a run. I think it's 21 of the last 26 cards profitable. 21 of the last 25 or 26. So let's just keep this going, man. First fight on the card, we got Jacqueline Amorim taking on Mizuki Inoue. Comeback fight for Inoue, 2 years off the sport. And I mean, she's been in the UFC for almost 7 years. No, six years. 6 years. And she's fought 3 times. So, pretty crazy. I mean, good grappler, good submissions, but, you know, the grappling is going to be a little hampered by... You know, you look into why she's been gone, and apparently a lot of injuries. You know, she's had like 2 or 3 knee surgeries, pretty serious knee surgeries. And I mean, she's only 31, but she's been in the sport since she was like 16. So at least, you know, competing since she was like 16 in MMA. So, you know, definitely has some miles and some injuries piled up on her already. And, you know, even though they're the same age, Amorim's definitely got the momentum. She's got, you know, she's the one who's been active, obviously. They both are mostly grapplers, but I still think Jacqueline's probably got the better striking. You know, do I think Amorim should be this big of a favorite? Probably not. So, of course, you know, it's probably dog or pass, but it's probably just going to be pass for me, man. In a way, you know, yeah, I got to say, out of her 6 losses, like 4 of them are like, what, Alexa Grasso, you know, Amanda Lemos, Verna Jandiroba. There's another good one in there. I mean, who is it? Is it Mackenzie Dern? I can't remember. She's fighting like the higher echelon of the division, but, you know, just not being active and the injuries and, you know, specifically knee injuries as a grappler. I don't know. I think Amorim can get on top. I think she can also outland her. So give me Amorim. I'll take her by decision. So definitely don't want to be laying that kind of price in a women's MMA fight where I think it's going to decision. But I take the better fighter. We'll move on. Azamat Maksum taking on Mitch Raposo. Yeah, 2 guys who are both 0-2, obviously. Raposo, though, decent competition. I mean, Andre Lima, somebody I'm really high on. Sumadarji, I think he's better than his record in the UFC, but I don't lay chalk that often. I mean, I actually technically did. I mean, I don't know if you call it chalk, but on this card, but yeah, I did here in this fight because, you know, I just knew it was a bad matchup. I honestly think that both these guys are pretty solid, at least better than their 0-2 records, and I'll say especially Maksum. I mean, because, you know, Tagir Ulanbekov and Charles Johnson. I mean, Charles has been just winning me money as an underdog a ton since he came into the UFC. So somebody I'm super high on. I think both these guys are better than the 0-2 record. That being said, I think Maksum should be a decent favorite because, again, kind of like the first fight, both guys like to grapple, and I think Maksum is the better grappler. I mean, at least Mitch, unlike Inoue, is being active, and, you know, I think he knows his back's up against the wall here. He's gonna fight for his money, you know, your money. He's still only 27. I'm sure he's getting better, but man, he's a small guy. I don't think he's got a ton of power in his shots. I mean, he has some knockouts on his resume, but I think it's some lower level guys. I mean, it's probably a grappling match, and I just think Maksum gets on top. If it's a striking fight, I mean, I think it's probably pretty close, but I also feel like I give a slight edge to Maksum. So I think he should be the favorite. Again, line's probably a bit wide. You know how these pay-per-views are, man. I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, but these pay-per-views are these pay-per-views. I don't think I'll be betting either of these two dogs unless it gets ridiculous with this line, but you know how the pay-per-views are, man. Some of these lines are going to get wide. Does it necessarily mean you need to bet every dog? No, but you got to pick the ones where you think, are outrageously wide. But, I think Maksum wins. I honestly think it's probably a decision, man. I don't know if he's getting a ton of finishes in the UFC. Maybe he can snatch up Raposo's neck, because I do think they're going to grapple a good bit. If they don't, it's probably going to be an ugly fight. But we'll move on. Speaking of ugly fights, we got Chris Barnett taking on Hamdy Abdelwahab. I'm not trying to disrespect the GOAT, Chris Barnett, but I do love Chris. We all love Chris, but it is what it is, man. You got to be realistic. We're talking about betting. I got to always be honest with y'all. And, he's 39. It is heavyweight, but he's just not built for a heavyweight, man. He's 5'9". He's got a smaller frame. I mean, it's just he's not built for it. This guy should be fighting at you got flyweights that are 5'9". That being said, yeah, at least middleweight, it's just Hamdy isn't even the biggest heavyweight going, but he is 265, 6'2". And he's not on the sauce anymore like he used to be, most likely, but which he has popped before, so I can say that openly, but at the same time, yeah, did he just come off an ugly loss? Yes, but I just think that this is one where, to be honest, if I was a parlay guy like this, I think Hamdy wins. I just don't see what is Chris Barnett. Barring some crazy highlight reel that I'll be posting everywhere and will be loving because I'll be so happy, even if I were to lose money on it, which I don't think I'll be betting on this fight. But I'll be rooting for Chris, but I just don't. He'll have to hit a highlight reel, another wheel kick or something. And you saw last time he threw that, he injured himself. I think Hamdy gets it done. Probably going to be some slow early prelims. I think it's probably another decision. But who knows, man? Chris Barnett, we've been seeing all these injuries, and, I just don't. Maybe he can't get through a hard 15. But, it could be 3 decisions in a row to start this card, man. But we'll move on to this next one. We got Jose Delgado taking on Nathaniel Wood. Another good fight, man. Some guys I've bet pretty well on this card, but I've had a mixed bag with Nathaniel Wood. I wouldn't even know off the top of my head because I know I've won some, I've lost some. But Jose Delgado definitely burned me on that last one. Man, I had some money on Hyder Emil, and I was feeling pretty good about it, but it was one of those where I would have loved to see it play out more, but just got absolutely, clipped right at the beginning. A nice shot. And Delgado, we knew, I said in the breakdown, this could be one of those where I look dumb because, Delgado, if he beats you, he's probably going to spark you in that first round. And the problem is, Nathaniel, we've seen hurt. He hasn't been finished in 5 years, but, in some of these fights that have gone 15, you have seen him get hurt. Even if he survives, you've seen him get hurt, so it is a question mark. And also, even though you have the ability, the positive of not cutting a ton of weight, it's also he is a very small featherweight, one of the smallest featherweights probably in the UFC roster. Let alone out of these, the topper, the mid to higher level of the weight class. So, it's a tough fight. I think Delgado's super dangerous early. It's not that, we haven't seen evidence that he has some terrible gas tank, but, of course, I think if Wood can, weather that early storm, I do think that, he's the better fighter. I think he's the more technical guy pretty much everywhere. Delgado is going to be way more dangerous, at least, typically, especially early, but I think Wood, he has some power of his own, even as a smaller guy, and not I don't think it's not that he has a ton of power, it's just his technique's clean, so he finds shots, man. And he mixes in the wrestling, which can open up shots, and I think if anybody is getting takedowns here, it's probably Wood, even though he's the smaller guy. It's not that I think Delgado could get a takedown early, but, I think he's going to try to knock Wood out. I could see Wood getting some grappling success, especially, if after that first round. So I'm actually going to lean the underdog, man. I don't know if I'll be betting him. Typically, you guys know, like, man, and I swear lately, like, the few, like, very small, like, oh, plus 120 when it's an underdog and I don't bet it, they've been just winning every single time lately. But I don't know if I'll bet this one. It's, like, right on the cusp of, like, okay, I think I would probably line him, like, minus 120. So it's like, do I see a ton of value on the line at like plus, what is it, plus 125, plus 130 right now at tops? I don't know. I mean, it's right on the cusp of like, okay, if I could have got that plus 150 that it was at the opener, or what, 55, I'd have taken that. But if I can get 150, I'll bet it. I don't know if I will below that, but it is written down. I could end up betting him. I am going to pick the underdog, Nathaniel Wood. I think he could knock Delgado out too. I think either guy could get knocked out. I honestly wouldn't rule out a sub. I think he'd be the better minute winner of the fight, especially in round 2 and 3. So, there's paths. So I'll take the underdog. We'll move on to the next one, man. Walter Walker taking on Louis Sutherland. You guys know, typically, man, like, if you're giving me, like, I think Walter has a high ceiling, especially what we've been seeing lately. I mean, did some unprecedented with 3 heel hooks in a row, which is a record. Just 3 submissions in a row is impressive, let alone 3 of the same submission, let alone a rare submission that we don't even see often, let alone 3 times or even 2 times in a row. So, really interesting, and I hope he just, dude, if you can hit it 20 times in a row, do it. Like, I've heard him talking about, at least going into the Mo Usman fight, he was like, I don't want another heel hook. Maybe that was just talk, like trolling, so we could immediately go for it and try to catch him off. Who knows? But, or at least try to, but... my philosophy is, dude, I mean, if anything, it would just build your hype. Like, be like a Paul Juarez that people actually don't hate. I mean, that would be awesome. And at heavyweight, like, we've never even seen, I guess Frank Mir would be the closest thing to it. I don't know. I think Walter, like, if you can do that here, because honestly, I don't think Louis that good, man. I think this is, dude, if you can do it, I think his grappling is probably like a slightly better than a Junior Tapa, or like it's probably about a Kennedy and Zechiku, and I mean, like they're, he's probably a little stronger than Kennedy, but still, like, dude, grab this, control this dude's leg, and if you can just take it. But who knows? He's at least talking like, I want to do something else here. Like, dude, just win fights. I don't know. I think he's much better. I wasn't super impressed with Sutherland. I was thinking about betting him over Tafa. But that was Tafa. And then that fight got canceled, and Walter's fight gets canceled because Usman and Tafa, or Usman pops for testosterone boost, and Tafa gets cut for can't make weight or something. I don't know, injury or something. I don't know. Clown. But I think Walter should win here. He's much better, and he's got the grappling experience. I don't think Louis is like some beast on the feet. He's got some power. He's pretty solid and dangerous in the clinch. He's a little bigger. He might have a little bit of a strength advantage, but I think Walter can get him down. Just please grapple, dude. Don't go in there and do the Lucas Brzezinski game plan because you're a favorite. But I'll take Walter. I was looking at I think there was like some interesting KO props. I want to look at that a little bit more. I thought I had written it down somewhere, but I want to look at the props on that. But I won't be in land like 3-1. Just he might fight like an idiot. I've cashed Brzezinski as a 4 or 5-1 underdog in his debut. People don't forget. Moving on, Abdul Karim Al-Selwady taking on Mateus Camilo. Good fight. Camilo, man, I was kicking myself for not betting Gabe Green. I talked about it all week, and he was a pretty big underdog because Camilo, he is huge. Man, this dude is big for the division. I've seen this dude with, welterweights and middleweights, and, look the same size. He is going to be the bigger guy, not just taller. He's got a big frame. Yeah, they say the reach is the same. Okay, if that's true, whatever. But, frame, I think he's probably going to be the bigger guy. But I don't think he's that good, man. I think he's pretty dangerous. He's got the higher ceiling. I've been seeing, he looks like he's in, dude's jacked. He's in crazy shape. Like I said, huge. He's only 24. He's training with good guys. I'm sure he's making big improvements. And I think he does have the higher ceiling here. But I will say, it's kind of like the Nathaniel Wood fight, man. There's actually another fight that I think there's like 3 fights where I'm considering betting, and it's kind of a similar story where it's like, I think Abdul, I mean, again, I faded George Hardwick in his UFC debut against, I need to look because that's going to bother me. What was that last fight? Or no, I faded. Wow, I'm tripping. I faded his little brother. But George Hardwick, they're both pretty solid, but they've been on a little bit of a downswing. When George, what's his little freaking brother's name? And he fought the Brazilian and got his leg kicked off. Oh man, it's killing me. But anyways, both are okay. And at the time, Abdul was a big underdog, and that was a pretty decent win, honestly. But he just hasn't been able to be active. He fought Loic Razabog, didn't look terrible. I bet Razabog there, and honestly, it was pretty competitive. I wasn't feeling amazing about the bet. And then he knocked Abdul out. You know what I mean? Awesome, cashed, loved it, but I'll say Abdul has 4 losses, all 4 are knockouts. So, if the young, big, dangerous dude catches him and knocks him out, fair. Maybe he can knock him out, maybe he can hurt him and then snatch his neck. It's definitely possible, but I think the better skilled guy everywhere is Abdul. He kind of has that point fighting style where he can stick and move, and it doesn't help being the pride of Palestine and you're fighting over here in Abu Dhabi. Just saying, if it's close. And then, I do think, even though he's a smaller guy, he could have some grappling success as well. Even though Camilo is huge, he's not a bad grappler, but, Selwady might be able to, he's got that weird style where he'll point strike and then mix in a takedown. And then, pretty good minute winning style. He just got to stay safe. But, so I'm going to lean Abdul. Oh, man, the durability at this point and the defense isn't great. And so I haven't bet it, but he's another one, him and Nathaniel Wood. It's like I think they're the more skilled guy, but they're both the smaller guys who have been hurt against a dangerous guy who, could definitely clip him and knock him out. But I'll pick him. I'll take him. Dude, I honestly might see another decision. I hate to say it. Yeah, I think Walter gets the sub, but I think this might be another decision. Whereas I think Wood. Did I say it? I don't know. I think Wood knocks him out. I think Wood gets the knockout. But I'm gonna say Abdul by decision. Yeah, decision. Could finish him on the ground, but I'll say a decision. But we'll move on. Mateusz Rebecki taking on Ludovic Klein. Man, Rebecki coming in not short notice, but short time span. It was only 2 months ago where I cashed Duncan as a 2-1 dog. Was a close fight. I thought Duncan was the clear winner, but it was a competitive fight. It was a war, man. I wouldn't even want Duncan to come back already. But, Duncan's at the same time, he walked away looking a lot better than Rebecki, and Rebecki kind of looks like that every time. He takes a ton of damage, and you don't want to go in there and fight like that against Klein, going to all these wars. And I do think, I've seen some sharp guys making some good points, like Rebecki. He's a dog, and he's the underdog who is probably the bigger dog. You can bring a forward pressure, turn it into a dog fight, maybe mixing some takedowns, but, other than Gamrot, it's people aren't really having a ton of wrestling success against Klein. And I think it's even harder now. Klein is taking his strength and conditioning very seriously. He's hard to take down. He's a big, strong dude. And, I think Klein is a problem. And Rebecki, he is the bigger dog. If this turns into a scrap, it's going to be tough. But I think Rebecki, he's also pretty hittable, and he's been taking a lot of damage. And, Gamrot's a specialist, so he was able to wrestle him, and that's impressive. It was good, but, I think Rebecki, I don't know if it's going to be as easy for him to get takedowns. Maybe he can mix in a couple, but I think Klein can work through it. I think Klein's grappling has gotten better. And I think he's the much sharper striker, and I think he can clip him, hurt him. I think a knockout super live, man. What is the knockout prop here? Because I think the knockout, I try not to do this too much, but seriously, I've been considering playing the knockout because, Plus, yeah, I mean, that's tempting, but, I already have the money line played. I played it at minus 135. I just think, man, Klein's just going to clip him. I think he's either going to knock him out or he's going to hurt him. If it turns into a dogfight, yeah, it's going to be sketchy, but I like Klein here, man. I think Klein's only getting better. He's actually the younger guy. I think he's the fresher guy. A lot of high-level experience, man. I think he's got good momentum, so I'm going to take him. We'll move on, though. We got Ikram Aliskerov taking on Jung Park. Another good fight. Aliskerov obviously get a little bit of home field advantage here. Last time it didn't go so well for him, but that was short notice against Robert Whittaker. He was supposed to fight, who was that, Chicoli? And then, oh, never mind. Instead of Chicoli, you want to fight Robert Whittaker? And Robert Whittaker, a year and a half ago, even more so, I'm just saying. Not that he's still not a scary-ass dude, but, dangerous fight. And, Jung Park, he's fighting lower-level guys for the most part. I mean, Ikram, other than Robert, it's, Muniz, who, did beat Park, but did he? Question. I don't know. Did he? And then other than that, Worley Alves and Phil Haas, and then Mario Souza on Contender Series, so neither have fought like the highest echelon. Both guys are winning most of the fights that they should. Definitely the more dangerous seems to be Aliskerov, even though we haven't seen it against the highest level. I still think Park, yeah, it's lower level guys. It's still UFC. You know what I mean? It's still a level above a lot of these guys that Ikram's beat. It's not the worst level regional, but still, UFC lights are still better most of the time. I think Ikram, he's the bigger guy. He's fighting at home. He's on paper, it looks like his grappling's pretty good. We've seen Park go against some solid grapplers. We've seen him get taken down, but he usually works through it. I think, he's just, because he's the more dangerous, and so in Park, his win equity is like a close decision most likely. And then you could do close decision against the Russian in Abu Dhabi. I don't love it. You know what I mean? So there's underdogs I like better as of now. I have Park written down because if this line gets wild, if people start parlaying because, OV, Russian, and Abu Dhabi, yeah, I get it. So, he should be the favorite. But, I think Park, this could end up being close. But I don't like taking... I'm trying to minimize those type of shots, man. Let's not bet against the house as often as possible. Like, do I really... When we're talking, like, a little bit of plus money, it's like, is it worth, betting against the OV Russian at home in Abu Dhabi? Nah. I think Aliskerov's the more dangerous, and then if it goes the decision, it's probably going to be close. It's tough. So I'll take Aliskerov. I think probably is decision, man. Decision. I'm seeing some decisions on this card, I guess. I didn't realize that until I'm making official calls, but yeesh, I am. We move on. Nasrat Haqparast taking on Quillan Salkid. Another good fight, honestly. I don't think this has actually been booked for very long. So, kind of interesting. Obviously, a little bit harder for somebody like Salkid who's got to fly across the world. But obviously, looked pretty good. Had his Contender Series, good performance. Then, smoked Angel Jubilee, bum, is what it is. Then, some good notes, some bad notes in the Ajmus fight. I'm not going to lie, I had a plus money ticket for Ajmus there, so that hurt. Ajmus, man, it was looking like he was going to finish Salkid a couple times. But, hey, he showed heart. He showed toughness. He pushed through. Even though he did get tired, he pushed. Haqparast, did I think he beat Jared Gordon? Maybe not, but Jared Gordon's a hard dude to beat by decision unless he just got hit by a car the day before. But anyway, actually that did go to decision. But anyways, Nasrat's tough, man. Like, he's got a ton of experience even at only 30. And it's not like he's taking a ton of damage. It might not be the highest of highest level UFC, but it's a much higher level than Quinlan's fighting. And, maybe Quinlan has a bit of a grappling advantage, but, is he really going to come in here and grapple a ton against Nasrat? If he does, I don't know. It's tough because I'll admit, Nasrat hasn't been fighting a ton of grapplers. You go through his fights, and it's mostly strikers for sure. Striker. Striker for the most part. Striker for the most part. Striker. These are strikers. But at the same time, I think Haqparast, with all this experience at this point, been in the UFC this long, Do I think a 25-year-old, yeah, he's a little bit bigger than him, but is he going to come in here? First of all, that height might make it harder. You know what I mean? It's going to, I think he's decent in the clinch and I like body locking and stuff like that. But, like, if you're talking traditional, takedowns, you're going to get under their hips. The height doesn't always help. So, I think, I don't know how good his wrestling's going to translate to the UFC, but, better off getting just really good in the clinch, really good at just using that height to body lock these dudes to the mat. And in general, just the jiu-jitsu and the grappling, but, the wrestling, I don't know how good it is. It's looked okay. I think it's probably going to be a mostly striking fight, man. And because of that, man, I like Nasrat. A slight underdog, I kind of wanted to wait and see because I feel like this is going to be the one where I get reverse CLV, but I just bet him at minus 105. I don't want to get too greedy. I feel like it's a little too obvious. Like, I'm pretty good usually, at least with the underdogs, because it's a little bit more obvious. I don't even know if it's a pat on my back. Like, at least if it's a decent underdog, typically people just continuously parlay and then it only grows. So somebody like me benefits from that. This one, it could end up going the other way. We'll see. If it's this type of line, if it's this close when it gets to weigh-ins, I probably am going to get reverse CLV because people are going to see Quillan's huge. He is big. But, I like Nasrat, man. I don't hate even money, minus 105. I just think it's probably going to play out 2/3 at least on the feet, and I'll take the better striker. The guy I think is just going to win the minutes. They're both pretty durable, pretty tough. I just think Nasrat's the better striker. I think his experience is going to shine here on the feet. I think he wins a decision. Nasrat by decision. Wow, I am really picking. Like, have I picked like 6 decisions of 9 fights or something? Like, maybe like 7? I don't know. It's tough. Maybe not. Let's say 6. Alexander Rakic taking on Azamat Mirzakhanov. This is a good fight. Another really good fight. This is the other fight, to be honest with you. I'll spoil it with Nathaniel Wood and even kind of like the Al-Selwady fight where I think Rakic is more skilled. He's been fighting the more high-level competition. And, on paper, if you just look at the competition, you should think, or even like if it was a video game, you're looking at the skills, you would think he's probably going to win. But the one thing, the glaring hole is, first of all, you're going to see the red. We got an undefeated guy against a guy who's lost 3 fights in a row. So especially you got a guy who's been finished a couple times now against a guy who's knocking most of these guys out. I will say, leg injury here against Blachowicz. And, okay, he got finished against Erie. And other than that, it's like, it's been a while. You got to concede. He hasn't had a win in, 4.5 years. So that is a red flag. He is only 33. He's the younger guy here. Plus, is Azamat 36? That guy might be 46. Nah, he's too quick. But still, he's a small 205er, not just height. Like, he's chunky, it is mostly height. Because I'll say, even though he's chunky, like, okay, he's got a pretty big back and shit. And he's fast. He makes up for it in speed. Rack, on the other hand, is huge. He's one of the bigger 205ers. This is one of the bigger 205ers against one of the smaller 205ers. Man, I want Rakic to grapple so bad. I think Azamat, yeah, he's a Russian, but like his grappling is not that good. And yeah, I'm sure it's only gotten better. But he's not training with like any like elite Russian grapplers. He's around mostly strikers. And I mean, you were watching him shoot some like ugly takedowns against Jacoby. He got tired. Like Minifield, Habera, like, okay. But other than Jacoby, I mean, who was he really beat? I remember this guy was losing to Tafon and Chekwu and then got that knockout in round 3. Yeah, he's gotten a couple round 3 finishes, but man, he looks tired as hell. He's just finding that Hail Mary. And yeah, I feel like this might be one of those where Rakic's winning the whole fight and then gets nuked. Kind of like the Al-Selwady and Wood fights could be. But man, I'm just looking at this and I get it, the red and the undefeated and hasn't won a fight in almost 5 years. I get those are red flags against a power puncher. Oh man, this could be one where, like I said, he's just gonna be winning and then sleep. But I'm gonna go with the guy who's just so much better MMA fighter. He's not that old. He hasn't been finished that many times. I mean, it's like I think he can bounce back. Give me Alexander Rakic. I'm gonna say this one he could knock Mirzakhanov out. He could submit him. He could win a decision. I'm gonna actually say TKO, man. I'm gonna say he hurts Azamat and ground and pounds him. I know he hasn't been getting a lot of finishes, or he hasn't been getting wins recently, or even been able to fight a lot. But I'm gonna say somebody I think's getting knocked out. I'm gonna say Rakic gets it done. We move on. Alexander. And I did bet him. Oh no! I have not bet Rakic, but I have him written down. Him and Wood are like 2 underdogs where I'm like, close. I want to do it. But we'll move on to this next one, man. Alexander Volkov, Jailton Almeida. Man, this one pains me because it's not that Volkov can't win, but man, like, it's just they tell him if Volkov gets screwed, he clearly beat Gane, and then steps out of the cage and Dana says, hey, we got you, man. We're going to make it up to you. We're going to give you the worst matchup. Like he told him he's going to make it up to him. And then maybe they gave him some money on the side, but it's like, hey, we're going to give the guy that you just got robbed by the title shot, and then we're going to give you the worst matchup. And it's not that I don't think he can win the fight. It's just on paper, stylistically, this is a bad matchup, man. It just is. It's a bad matchup. If it was 5 rounds, it would going to help Volkov more. If it was 5 rounds, I'd probably honestly be taking an underdog shot. But spoiler alert, I like Volkov a lot, man. I think he's one of the best. I think he's, the better fighter. Well, more if we're talking like well-rounded, he might even be able to beat more of the heavyweights. I don't know. It's close. Both of these guys, it's Aspinall, and then it's like Gane, Volkov, Almeida right there is that number 2 spot. I might be missing somebody right now, but Volkov's really good. I mean, he just got robbed by Gane so bad. This pains me, but I just feel like Jailton can either get the sub or win the first 2 rounds with takedowns, man. And I bet Blades against them at plus money. That was a fun cash. And everybody's like, fluke. It was not fluke, man. Like, people are like, oh, why did he let go? It's like, dude, yeah, I've been there, man. He didn't let go because he was desperate. He was tired. He had nothing. He was gassed. But this one's 3 rounds, and it's 3 rounds, and I think he can get Volkov down, man. If it was 5, I'd be very tempted, but Volkov has bulked up. He's big, he's strong. He is the bigger guy of the two, not just taller, just straight up bigger. His grappling isn't bad, but his wrestling's not bad. But I think Jailton can get him down, man. Yeah, I'm gonna say Jailton sub, but it could be decision. And the KO is like 5-1. I mean, honestly, this could go a lot of ways, but I'll take Jailton. We'll move on to the next one. We got Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Mario Bautista. Look, I'm going to keep this relatively short because this is going to be one of my longer ones recently, but it's a big pay-per-view. Hype for this card, and, it is what it is. Umar, he's a beast, man. He's probably, on paper, the best. Second best. I mean, I was going to say the best outside of the champ. Like, Merab obviously beat him in the last fight. I thought, pretty clear 3-2, if not even an argument for 4-1. And I had no money on it, just being honest. But, Mario Bautista, on the other hand, I think, do I think he's quite on that level of, Umar and those guys right there? I think he's right outside of that in the sense of, I think Mario is one of the best guys in the division. I was saying, I think he probably is one of the harder fights for Merab. I think Merab wins. I think Merab is the champ for a reason. But, to be honest, spoiler alert, I think 5-1, against Merab would be tempting. Because, I think Mario's a fucking problem, man. Like, his striking's good. His grappling's, his wrestling's good. His jiu-jitsu's good. He's tough. He's durable. He's, good cardio. Pretty, he'll outwork you. He's a good minute winner. He's going to fight for your money. He's not going to take unnecessary risks. I mean, he's got some power, not crazy power, but I would actually say he probably has more power than Umar. He might be the stronger guy than Umar. That they're probably going to size up pretty well. I mean, strength might be pretty compact. I think, Mario's probably stronger. him and, I mean, Merab was the stronger guy. I think Mario's probably the stronger guy. Mario's a strong guy who has some pop in his shots. Yeah, I mean, I think Umar, yeah, of course. Like I said, Umar, he's the second best guy in the division. He should be the favorite. He should win this fight. The pick is Umar. But I honestly think it goes 15. I think it goes 15, and it's 5-1 on a couple books, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's tempting. I haven't bet it, but honestly, if I got to part with, 0.2 of a unit to win one, on Mario Bautista, like I think this guy 5-1 against Merab, 5-1 against anyone in the division, I think is pretty insulting. I think Mario, I bet him against Patchy, so maybe I'm biased at plus money. I understand it's a big step up. There's a big difference between Umar and Patchy. But, man, I think Mario's a fucking problem, man. I think he's really good. I don't think he's as good as Umar. I think he's a notch below, but 5-1, man. If these guys fight 10 times, you're going to tell me he can't win a couple of them? Like, I don't know. I think it's going 15. So, I'll take Umar. I'll take him by decision, but might be forced into a play on the underdog. We move on to the co-main event, man. We got the title on the line now that Zhang Weili has moved up. It'll be interesting to see if she moves down if she loses, but to Valentina. But we got Verna Jandiroba taking on Mackenzie Dern for the vacant strap, and it's a rematch. Mackenzie Dern did win the first fight by decision. That was like 4 or 5 years ago or something. It's been a while, of course, let's be honest, who does the UFC want to win this? Not the younger, more marketable girl. They've put a ton of love into Mackenzie. She's a star on the female side. They'd love, this is her shot to get a strap. And, she's already beat Verna. I think, man, I wish I would have got that opener, I'll be honest. Like, I think she opened at plus money, or was at least, like, even. I think it was plus money, and I don't know. I think she wins this fight, man. I won't go too on and on because I think the line's pretty accurate. Like I wish I would have got that plus money or even like even money. And I don't bet women's MMA unless it's like an underdog. Typically, I don't want to have too much of my money, packed up into that unless it's just the odds are just too wide. But yeah, I think Mackenzie wins this fight, man. I think she's a better striker. I think she's proven that her cardio might even be better. Like, she can just push through and outwork girls a little bit better than I've seen Verna in some of these fights. Verna takes big breaks in some of these fights, and I think Mackenzie can outscore her in those areas. Verna wasn't really trying to grapple a ton with, Mackenzie on top, and, so the grappling straight up on the mat, I think goes Mackenzie. Maybe Verna can get takedowns, but it's 5 rounds. Like, you got to do more than just secure some takedowns. You got to, like, do some serious damage or, like, secure, like, a big controlling position, get a sub, or like, if you just land on top of them in their guard, like, good luck doing that for 5 rounds to Mackenzie. So, I don't know. I think Mackenzie's the side. I wish I would have got that plus money, man. Honestly, I was pissed when, like, by the time I, was like, I wish I would have started top, but a lot of times, like, it just depends. But by the time I got to it, she was, like, minus 130 or something, and then now she's, like, minus 170. I think even minus 130 I should have honestly just took, but whatever. I think she wins the fight, man. We'll move on to the main event. I'll take her sub or decision, but I mean, honestly, I know I just said that, but KO's like 10-1. Just like a ground TKO, if Verna gets tired trying to wrestle her and is like getting swept and like the grappling is actually just gassing her 5 rounds, 10-1. Just a grappling TKO. It's probably a sub. I don't know. I haven't played it. Just like taking a look. But we move on. Main event, man. We got Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane. Like this video. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget about that giveaway at the beginning. And let me know what your favorite bet is on this card, man. Tom Aspinall defending the strap. Cyril Gane. Look, Tom Aspinall, I wish we could have got the John Jones fight. Maybe we do end up getting it. But, I think he's the best in the world. I think he's the best, he's the rightful heavyweight. I cashed in that crazy fight against the Blades, the first one. I did lose in the second one because, again, I think Blades is one of the tougher matchups in the division, and it is what it is. It was like 5-1 or something on a fight. I had already cashed the first one, even though it was a free thing, but it is what it is. I think honestly, Cyril, look, man, did I think he won? Did he beat Volkov? No. The fight IQ and the John Jones, he just choked. The Francis Ngannou showed lack of fight IQ. He showed lack of heart in the John Jones. He didn't win the Volkov fight. He shouldn't win this fight. I think Aspinall could knock him out. I think, honestly, maybe we see that Aspinall's gas tank's pretty good. Who knows? We haven't had to see it yet. But, yeah, if it goes 25, yeah, it's going to be sketchy. If you're laying, like, 4-1 on Aspinall, if it goes to the third round, you're going to be sweating a little bit. Because Gane's a good minute winner. But I do think Aspinall's a rightful favorite, man. He should win. Obviously the rightful favorite. I think he should be, relatively wide. I mean, look, I think he's the best in the world. It's a heavyweight fight. So, yeah, when I see Gane at plus 320, it's a little tempting. It is a little tempting. It's a heavyweight fight. We haven't seen Aspinall have to go 25. Gane's pretty good at staying safe. If it goes to the later rounds, it could get interesting. So, I'll be keeping an eye on the line. But do I really want to get in front of the Aspinall train? Am I trying to fade him? No, I did try to fade him once, I'll be honest. I took plus money on Sergey. And, that didn't age well. Obviously got slept. But, hey, he did land a good shot right before that. But anyways, I don't know if I'm trying to fade him again. I think Aspinall wins. I think he probably knocks Gane out. Gane had been ducking this fight for a while. But, it's going to happen. And, hey, we've seen crazier things happen. And even though, this ain't no movie, man. Even though Aspinall, I think he's the best in the world. Even though I think he, had a good chance against John, if not outright wins. Crazier things have happened. We could see Gane just land something. It's heavyweight. We could see this go a little later and it get close and it go 25. Who knows? I don't think it's going 25, though. I think someone's getting finished. And I'm going to lean it's going to be Gane. So I'm going to say Aspinall by KO. And... yeah, let me run through my picks real quick. I'm going to say Aspinall by KO. I'm going to say Dern by... I'm going to say submission. I'm going to say she gets the sub. I'm going to go... actually, you know what? I'm going to go Dern decision. I'm sorry. I'm going to go Umar Nurmagomedov by decision. I'm going to go Jailton Almeida submission. Alexander Rakic KO. Nasrat hack press decision. Ikram Aliskerov decision. Ludovic Klein, KO. Al-Selwady, decision. Walter Walker, submission. Nathaniel Wood, I'm going to take him by... I'll take him by decision. But that one could go a lot of ways. I'm going to say Hamdy Abdullah by decision. Azamat Maksum by decision. Jacqueline by decision. And my bets so far, I got Nasrat minus 105. I got Klein minus 135. I'm eyeing Rakic and Wood. Those are two that I'm really eyeing. Park and Selwady still as well a little bit. Be looking at props later on in the week. It's only Tuesday, but that's where I'm at so far. Now that Contender Series is up, I want to drop these videos a little earlier like I always did. But when Contender Series goes, I like to wait till Contender fights are over. So, like this video, man. Click subscribe. Turn your post notifications on. Check Wager Wars live. And if you miss it, you can go to the live tab afterwards. Don't miss the giveaway at the beginning. I appreciate y'all. Until later on, tell Wager Wars, really. I will catch you guys then. Peace.